Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Lagerquist. I'm with Vine Faith in Action, and we're very lucky today to have a couple of people from MSU's. And I'm going to let you give the full name of the office up there. And when I introduce you, Kate and Jessica will be leading us through some of the factors and the programs that they offer as far as folks who are suffering from Parkinson's disease and how it affects speech and language and communications, and how those things can be approached by, especially I would assume, by caregivers and for family members and those folks. So I will step aside now and let Kate take over, and I'll let her pronounce her last name because I don't want to get it wrong.
You're not going to take a shot at it, huh?
How about Glogowski?
That's pretty close. It's Glogowski. I always say it's like it glows in the dark. Glogowski.
That's easy to remember then.
Well, thank you so much for having us today. We're super excited to be here to talk about the Center for Communication Sciences and Disorders at MSU, also some of the programs that we offer for adults, and then a new program that we're super excited to talk to you all about, which is our Parkinson's program. I'm going to just share my screen here first so you all can see. I do have a PowerPoint presentation, but I do want you to know that if any point in time you have a question, please just feel free to unmute your mic and interrupt me, because I would like this to be very interactive. There it comes. So if at any point in time you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. There's some controls that you can do at the bottom if you're really tech savvy, where you can raise your hand and do those kinds of things. But I have no problems with you just unmuting and interrupting me. Please, please, please do so. Like I said, we're here today to talk to you about the Center for Communication Sciences and Disorders at Minnesota State and our Speak Out and Loud Crowd program. This is just kind of a brief overview of what we want to talk to you about today. I'm going to kind of go through the introductions of who we are, what we do, what our mission statement is here at the Center for Communication Sciences and Disorders. I do want to talk to you a little bit about our facilities, because I think we are so extremely blessed to be where we are and to have the opportunity to share that with the Mankato community and surrounding communities. And so I do want to highlight that a little bit and tell you how that is going to be helpful to make an impact with the community. And then I'll talk to you about the other services we offer for adults. And then I'm so happy to introduce our Speak Out and Loud Crowd program. And then Jessica Jones, our lead clinical educator at Minnesota State, is going to take over and talk about what Parkinson's disease is, how it impacts speech and voice, and how we feel the Speak and Loud crowd can help. And then we'll kind of wrap up at the end with a question and answer session. So please, any questions you guys have, or like I said, even in the middle of all this, if you have a question, please just unmute and interrupt me. And then I want to give you some, some contact information on how you can get a hold of us and what's the best way to get in contact with us. Okay, first of all, the Center for Communication Sciences and Disorders at Minnesota State University Mankato provides assessment and treatment to children and adults with a variety of communication disorders. Our clients come from Mankato and surrounding southern Minnesota communities, and our speech language pathologists work with people who have trouble with listening, speaking, reading, writing, thinking, swallowing, and also voice disorders resulting from developmental delay, neurological impairments resulting from progressive diseases, injuries, traumatic brain injuries, and or stroke. And we service individuals that have voice disorders or difficulties swallowing. All of our services are provided by our graduate level students who are pursuing a master's degree in speech language pathology under the direct supervision of our certified speech language pathologist. All of our speech pathologists are certified by the American Speech Language Hearing Association, and they have a master's or a doctoral degree in speech language pathology. They have completed postgraduate clinical work and have passed a national praxis exam. The mission of our center is to provide state-of-the-art care and instruction to individuals seeking services and to educate future and current practitioners to help them achieve their fullest potential. I would say at the center, we really focus on clinical aspects of the center. We really want to be able to service the community in the best way that we can. And the introduction of the Parkinson's program was something that we just felt was missing, that it was an underserved population in our community, and we really felt that we could provide that to our community. The Center for Communication Sciences and Disorders is located on the Minnesota State University campus. The building on the left is the big, beautiful building that we are fortunate enough to call home. The bottom floor, where you can see the row of windows on the bottom, is where the center is located. The second floor of the CSB, their Clinical Sciences building, houses all of our clinical teaching, classrooms, simulation labs is all on the second floor. And then third floor is housed with our instructors, offices, other classrooms. And so we really are fortunate to be able to have such a beautiful space to provide services. This is our multi-bed skills lab, and it provides many opportunities for our students to practice skills in a very hands-on learning environment. The space includes 8 hospital beds, head walls with functioning suction and oxygen hookups. The space is often set up with task trainers or low fidelity mannequins to allow our students to focus on practicing their skills in a safe environment. And the space has afforded our students the opportunity to practice bedside swallow assessments and/or adult language and cognitive assessments in a simulated hospital setting. And I love to show this picture because in the top right-hand corner is the Dean of Allied Health, Dean Rutherford. And over the summer, when COVID hit and our students were really struggling to get hands-on clinical experience out in a clinical setting, she helped us create some clinical simulations for our level 2 graduate students by serving as a standardized patient. And so it's really a beneficial space for us to use for our students because a lot of students haven't set foot in a hospital setting until they're on internship. And so if we can provide that opportunity while they're here on campus, it just makes our students that much better, which in turn provides better clinicians that are going to service all of you in the community. This is our adult simulation lab. It's very much like the multi-skills room, except it's set up by like an inpatient acute care hospital setting. And this provides students the opportunity to practice acute care scenarios that are often seen with our sickest patients, either immediately post-stroke, post-traumatic brain injury. Maybe it's a Parkinson's or an Alzheimer's patient that has progressed and requires hospitalization. The students can practice scenarios or skills in this setting. And in addition to that, there's a control room. So there's 2 adult inpatient settings, and there's a control room in between where the instructor can provide feedback to the student as they're conducting the bedside assessments with the graduate students. And it helps them guide them through the scenarios until it just gives them a safe place to practice these skills. I wanted to let you guys know about the facilities that we work in because I think it's so critical to the development of our speech language pathologists. This is an area that we wish to continue to grow so that our students get this really hands-on learning experience. We have one more space that is really going to help us practice our skills before we're out in the community with all of you, and that's called the Home Health Simulation Lab. And this is a space that's set up just like a studio apartment. It has a bedroom, a bathroom. It's very much like what a student would see or a speech language pathologist would see when they were going into the home of a patient to do home health. And it allows our students to practice what that would be like. We can set up different scenarios you know, for maybe some of our patients that are having difficulty at home managing their meds. Like, we can set up situations where maybe they have forgotten to take their meds, things that actually happen when we are out in a clinical setting. And that brings us to our favorite space on campus, which is the Center for Communication Sciences and Disorders. And this is a fully functioning outpatient clinic. We provide services to both children and adults through the center. The center is equipped with 10 individual treatment rooms, including 2 pediatric rooms, 8 adult rooms, and a sensory room for our children with sensory processing disorders. This was something that we recently added this year because we are servicing kids that are more involved and that do need to move during therapy. And so this was something that we quickly added and adjusted to our clinic. So you can see we have one child who's on a swing, another child who's on a ball. And then the other part, I didn't have a picture of our adults because unfortunately right now they're still in telepractice. So I didn't have an adult therapy room to share with you, but this kind of gives you an idea of the transitions we've made due to COVID-19. All of our graduate students are, have full PPE. We have 2 PPE don and doff stations at the front and the back of the clinic so that they, can provide the safest environment for our clients. So they wear face shields, masks, gloves. So we did all the things that all of a regular clinic would do as far as making sure that everything that were following social distancing markers, that we have plexiglass shields in place. We did everything in our on-campus clinic that you would do in a regular outside clinic. We also have a full audiology lab where we conduct full hearing assessments. And our voice analysis lab allows instructors to conduct voice assessments to individuals with voice disorders. I included the pictures in the bottom left-hand corner because I feel like it highlights all the things that we're doing to try and keep up with COVID and do the things that we can do to continue to serve people in the community. And one of the things that we were really having a hard time with our pediatric population was engaging them more into the session. And so we created a green screen, which is basically it's like a background when you're in Zoom, where we can kind of transform to someplace else. So literally we can change the background into like an ocean, or it can be a pirate ship or whatever. And it's just another way that our graduate students use their skills to continue to engage our clients in the community. Okay. On to the best part today is how do we service adults in our community? We provide all of these different services right here on campus at MSU. We do adult language assessment and interventions. For patients with traumatic brain injury or any type of injury to the brain resulting from stroke, progressive neurological diseases. We do cognitive communication assessments and interventions, motor speech assessments and interventions, dysphagia. We also service patients with dysphagia or swallowing disorders. We do assessment and intervention with individuals that may have difficulty with fluency or stuttering. And like I said, we do full audiological exams. We also work with individuals that maybe are minimally verbal or nonverbal by providing alternative and augmentative communication assessments and interventions. And then, like I said, again, to working with our voice clients on voice assessment and analysis. I am very proud of the services that we offer to Mankato and the surrounding area communities. This year has been hard, and I'm grateful that our program has been able to provide some comfort in ways to combat COVID-19. We are able to combat the isolation facing many of our adults today in individual services, through the individual services that we offer, but then also through our adult group-based services. So this is a picture of one of the adult group-based services that we offer, which is our adult aphasia groups. And we're extremely proud of these programs. We currently run 3 aphasia groups here on campus and 1 through the Twin Cities, a MinCan group. And these are 12-week programs that are for adults 18 years plus with aphasia or receptive and expressive language impairments resulting from stroke or injury to the brain. The program's designed to create natural conversation and interaction experiences and are offered 3 times a year in the fall, the spring, and the summer. These groups, this is one of the pictures of these groups. This is our adult aphasia group pre-COVID when they took a trip up to the Twin Cities to watch the Minnesota Twins game, and it's called Strike Out for Stroke. I wanted to give you a little picture of what MSU looked like pre-COVID. This was us, our adult aphasia groups right here on campus. And as you can see, we're all face-to-face, not socially distancing, no masks. But I'm happy to say that this was us during and immediately after COVID. Not only were we able to continue to serve 85 to 90% of our adult clients, we did it quickly. When COVID hit, our students were on spring break. MSU extended the spring break for 1 week. In that week, we were able to transition all of our adults with aphasia online. I think that's important to say because this isn't a population that easily faces isolation and loss of conversation. And we quickly were able to provide that in a week. And I think that's important for a lot of reasons, but I think it's really important just because, you know, it keeps us engaged. We all need that. You know, I need that, you need that, we all need that. And I think that's something that's really challenging right now because everything's via Zoom and we're missing that patient interaction. But I just love these pictures because we've been able to pick up and engage people that, you know, maybe would have become very, very isolated with COVID. We celebrated many holidays with our aphasia family, including most recently Halloween, as you can see on the right-hand side. A lot of them dressed up for Halloween, even though we couldn't be face-to-face. And most recently with the ugly Christmas sweater party this week. We are extremely proud of our ability to take care of our clients during their most difficult times. I'm going to take a break and just see if anyone has any questions for me so far.
How many students do you have up there right now, Kate? Or
we have our graduate cohort this year is 30 graduate students.
Wow.
Yep. We recently increased in the last year. So, and then that's our students on campus. And then we also have, I believe, Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 28 off campus. So our level 2 graduate students are off campus. And they're out on internship. However, I will say when COVID hit, Jessica can talk about that a little bit too, because we were both coordinating internships at that time. Some of those students came back on campus and helped out with our on-campus level 1 students because they were missing their clinical placements. And so that's when the simulation lab and all of those things became very, very important to our students. Okay.
Is there a cost to the patients and is it covered by insurance?
We are billing for services right now. Our group payments it's just a one flat fee for the semester. And then we are billing insurance, but we also do have sliding fees and scholarships for maybe those clients that, you know, don't have insurance or insurance maybe doesn't cover.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Okay. This is another one of our adult groups. It's the Dementia Friendly Meaningful Garden Engagement Program. I just love these pictures. I think it kind of says it all. You know, you have our adult client, whoops, shoot, I gotta go back here. Our adult client dancing in the garden here. I think that just kind of speaks volumes for this program. It's designed specifically for youth and aging adults with Alzheimer's disease or other associated dementias to participate in a meaningful garden experience with one another. What I love about the program is it combines graduate students from the program, individuals with Alzheimer's disease, and then some of our child literacy clients. So it really is multi-generational. And it allows individuals with Alzheimer's to use their strengths of long-term memory to participate in a functional activity. Okay. Also, to service our individuals with dementia or Alzheimer's, we have a memory book program that's conducted off campus. And this program allows our students to provide person-centered services to individuals with dementia through the creation of individualized memory books. The books are then utilized by the family, friends, and caregivers to engage them in past memories and to promote conversation or language. And we are so pleased to help service this underserved population. I will say clinically, I spent the last 21 years of my career in a clinical setting. And I will tell you, to be able to use a memory book like this in a functional setting, in a nursing home setting, is amazing. I haven't participated in this specific program on campus, but I have worked with individuals with memory books. And just to tell you one story, the individual I worked with really had started to become withdrawn, really wasn't engaging. And by promoting and implementing a memory book full of like all of his old memories, his family had things to talk about with him. They could look back at his pictures and they could talk about all the things that he had done in his life. And it's amazing, you know, how that will draw someone out just when you can just talk. And so I love the picture on the left-hand side of Reagan. She's one of our first-year graduate students this year, and Autumn Erickson's one of our first-year graduate students. You can just see how much fun they're having just talking to him about things that he used to do. We also have a concussion training program that's conducted off campus. Dr. Sheen Cho is on the left-hand side of the picture on the left. And she's doing a lot of work off campus and in the community to provide an interactive, hands-on way to help others understand the science and effects of concussion and to explore how the human brain functions and to learn about traumatic brain injury protocols. She's done a lot of work with local high schools to just help educate students on what to look for and what the effects of concussion can be. So we're super proud of that. Dr. Cho also holds adult brain injury clinic, which provides evaluation and intervention services for adults with language and cognitive difficulties resulting from stroke or aphasia, primary progressive aphasia, traumatic brain injury, dementia, Parkinson's, and other neurological disorders. These deficits can affect a person's ability to think, self-regulate, and perform executive functioning tasks, which will in turn affect their ability to perform their basic and independent activities of daily living. Another program we offer here on campus, our language and literacy assessment intervention. It's offered to both children and adults. I didn't have an adult picture to share with you, but we do service both children and adults. And that's Dr. Megan Mahould. She's the chair of our department, sitting on the floor with the kids. That's Megan, and we're really proud of the program that Megan's been able to do here on campus. She helps do assessment and intervention for adults with reading and writing or academic difficulties or dyslexia or disorders of executive functioning and language-related learning disabilities. We also do, like I said, provide assessment and intervention for augmentative and alternative communication for patients who are maybe minimally verbal or nonverbal. Okay, and Dr. Bonnie Berg is here with us, and she also does message and voice banking here on campus, which I think is just such a cool service to be able to provide to our community. This program helps individuals with degenerative diseases such as ALS to digitally record personally meaningful voice messages to use for communication in the future. The messages can be inputted into a speech generating device. So much like the devices you saw on the previous slide, we can input the person's actual voice into the device. And it allows them to preserve their natural voice before losing their ability to speak. I will tell you, this is one of the reasons I chose to become a speech language pathologist. I had taken an intro course at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, about speech. I didn't know much about it, but one of the stories that they shared was that when you have a person with ALS who's losing all of their functions, right? They're losing the ability to control their body. The last thing to go is their ability to speak. So to be able to provide somebody an opportunity to continue to tell their family that you love them, tell them what they're, what they want for them, after they're gone. I just think that's really powerful. And Dr. Berg is able to give that gift to our community. We also run a spasmodic dysphonia support group here on campus. And I don't know a lot about spasmodic dysphonia. That is Dr. Bruce Paberka's area of expertise. But I can tell you that it is a neurological voice disorder. It makes speaking difficulty. For individuals with this condition, the voice is difficult to use because of spasms or tremors that interfere with normal voice production. The group meets quarterly at the center, either face-to-face or online now. And the group provides increased public awareness for the condition, helps educate our students, and provide support and socialization for individuals with spasmodic dysphonia. Okay, and then again, in addition to our speech language pathology services, we also provide full audiological assessments. So that in a nutshell are the things that we do at the center, which is quite a bit, and really just has focused mainly on our adult population. And we do have several services for our kiddos too that we provide. But I'm really proud of the programs that we had. But like I said, there was one piece that we really felt was missing, and that was something that we could do to help service our Parkinson's population. So that, without further ado, I'm pleased to announce that our newest program being offered at the Center for Communication Science Disorders is the Speak Out and Loud Crowd program. It's a program made possible through a grant provided by the Parkinson's Voice Project. Minnesota State University was one of 256 applicants to receive the grant. Services are currently being offered free of charge through further potential grant funding. So even though we are billing for the other services, the Parkinson's program is being offered free of charge. So I should make that clarification. This program's for individuals with Parkinson's that want to strengthen the muscles used for speaking and swallowing in order to increase speech intelligibility and loudness and to maintain swallow function. The program combines individual speech therapy, which is the speak out portion, with ongoing group therapy, which is the loud crowd. And the program emphasizes speaking with intent and converts speech from automatic function to an intentional act. During Speak Out, the client and clinician participate in individual sessions to work through a series of speech, voice, and cognitive exercises, and then also a weekly loud crowd group session. And I don't want to go into too much detail because I would like Jessica to jump in and let us know a little bit more about the program. But I do want to say that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the program is currently offered online through our HIPAA protected and security protected Zoom platform. But future plans are to offer the program both online and face-to-face. And I do feel that one of the reasons the program has really taken off is that we are able to offer it online. I did have some individuals reach out and say that they were attending a support group for Parkinson's in their area. However, due to COVID-19, they were no longer offering those groups. And so they were really looking forward to having another alternative. So let's skip ahead here a little bit. We currently have 2 instructors who are running our Speak Out and Loud Crowd program. The first one is Bonnie Berglund, and she's a clinical instructor, speech language pathologist. She also does a ton with our adult aphasia groups. And so this is a really good fit for Bonnie. And then here with me today is Jessica Jones, who is an assistant professor and our lead clinical educator. And so without further ado, Jessica Jones is going to talk to you more about Speak Out.
All right, well, thanks, Kate. I'm going to go ahead and share, we're going to switch here. I'm going to share my screen so that I have control over advancing my slides. So give me just a second for me to do that. Okay, and let's go from our current slide. There we go. All right. And I'm going to stop my video just because I do have a rambunctious couple of pets that like to jump onto my my desktop. And so I'll stop the video so that we don't have that distraction. So if you hear me shuffling a little bit, it's probably me throwing my cat on the floor. Okay.
I will attest to that. She has a rambunctious cat.
Yes, I do. All right. Well, I'm really excited that I get to share information with you about Parkinson's, a little bit of background about Parkinson's disease, and then more specifically about our Speak Out program to help patients experiencing communication changes that accompany Parkinson's disease. So I just want to start by briefly defining Parkinson's disease. Hold on a sec. There we go. Am I advancing? There we are. All right, so it's a disorder which causes progressive nervous system damage, which results in stiffness and or slowing of movement. And I stress the progressive nature of this disease because the symptoms gradually worsen over time. And these symptoms include resting tremor. Oh, there's my dog. Although other forms of tremor may be present. Hey, stop it. Quiet. I think the mailman's here. So other forms of tremor might be present. Bradykinesia, which means slowed movement, is also a symptom. Rigidity in the limbs and loss of posture or balance, which can lead to problems in gait and walking. Now, there's no cure for Parkinson's disease, but there are various treatment options available to patients. And it's very possible for patients to have a really good quality of life with the right treatment options. Okay, so now let's look at the possible impact Parkinson's disease has on communication. Some changes you might see in speech include slurring and possibly a halting speech quality. Some people experience a slowing of speech, while other people might notice an increase in their speech rate. And the overall effects can be very imprecise articulation. The voice may change as well. There may be decreased loudness and a decrease in vocal quality with greater hoarseness than usual, or what we call vocal fry dysphonia, where the voice sounds very gravelly or croaky. The voice may also sound somewhat monotone with lack of pitch variation and inflection. Okay, affective changes may occur. Patients might experience what we call a masked face or a frozen face, which may make it more difficult for them to match their facial expressions with the words that they're using to express the emotions that they're feeling. Okay, some other complications of Parkinson's disease include possibly mild cognitive changes, including things like memory loss and difficulties with thought organization, possibly feelings of distractedness, and stress and anxiety can contribute to and exacerbate some of these challenges. Now, because Parkinson's is a movement disorder, the muscles of the face, mouth, and throat can be affected, and this can result in difficulties with swallowing, which is called dysphagia. This can express itself in different ways. The patient might have difficulties chewing food or controlling their saliva. Also, medications for Parkinson's might result in a dry mouth, and this, when combined with impaired muscle movements in the throat, could cause food to get stuck in the throat. So patients might experience coughing or choking when eating food, or feeling the need to frequently clear their throat after swallowing. Problems with sleep and fatigue are also very common. Patients might find themselves waking frequently at night or needing naps during the day due to that loss of energy and fatigue. Okay, now we need to delve a little bit into the neurological bases of Parkinson's disease to understand why the Speak Out program is so very effective. Now, dopamine is a neurotransmitter, and it allows the brain to send messages from neuron to neuron, allowing our bodies to do all of the wonderful things that we're able to do. And Parkinson's disease develops when the cells that produce dopamine die or become impaired. Now, the brain contains billions of neurons that are responsible for passing impulses or information along. And between the neurons is a gap. It's called the synaptic gap. Okay, and I've got a depiction here. We've got our neurons, and then the gap is right here. So we've got a close-up of the gap. Okay. Dopamine is released into this gap, and this allows information to continue on to the next neuron. Dopamine specifically helps transmit impulses that control our automatic movements. And because people with Parkinson's disease lack dopamine, it's difficult for them to control their own automatic movements. And these are movements, simple movements such as walking and talking, which don't necessarily require our conscious thought about how to move. Okay, so there are two motor systems that are in the human brain that control movement. Okay, the extrapyramidal system is a pathway that's responsible for our automatic movements. And these are those movements that don't necessarily require conscious thought. The pyramidal system is the pathway responsible for our intentional, purposeful movements that require us to actually think about them. So here's a diagram that I borrowed from the Parkinson's Voice Project website that shows both motor pathways. Now on this side, we have the extrapyramidal or automatic pathway, and it's shown here, just get my cursor, it's shown here in green. Now notice how there are structures that the impulses have to travel through before moving down the spinal cord. So here's our spinal cord right here, okay? No, sorry, I just got messed up there. One of these structures, there it is called the substantia nigra. And this is where a majority of dopamine is produced. And remember, this is the chemical that's lacking in patients with Parkinson's disease. Now, on the other side here, we have the pyramidal or intentional pathway, and you can see it's depicted here in blue. Here, the impulse moves straight down the brainstem and it bypasses the substantia nigra, thus not relying on dopamine for the information to pass along to the muscles. So what does this all really mean for us? Think about how, let's say you're going for a lovely walk through a park with a nice flat path, free of all kinds of obstacles. As you walk, you're likely using your extrapyramidal system. You don't need to consciously think about walking, you just do it. You know, we don't think about taking one step after another. We just take a nice ambling walk without thinking about the muscles that are involved. But think about now walking along a steep, rocky path next to like a raging river. You're likely to walk very carefully and intentionally now in order to avoid falling into the river. So you need to think very carefully about each of those steps, about each of those movements that you do. Now you're engaging your pyramidal system. So this means that when people with Parkinson's disease use intent, when they really think about their movements, they can bypass the structure in the brain responsible for producing dopamine. And this allows impulses to move unencumbered to the muscles, thus greatly lessening the movement symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Okay, so on to the Speak Out program. This program was developed to help people with Parkinson's disease learn to live their life with intent. Because when using intent, the pyramidal system is engaged. So there's no reliance on dopamine to move. Now, while the focus of our program is on speech and voice, it's also been found to be very helpful with posture and walking and swallowing, basically any movements that can be done purposefully. And at Minnesota State, we have speech pathologists and graduate students that have been trained to provide this therapy approach. So we start off with an evaluation. We get our referrals and we start off with an evaluation of the client. And after we've done our evaluation, we've pinpointed what the needs of our clients are, we bring them in for individual sessions, and they're taught to use intent while performing various speech tasks. So we begin each session with warm-up exercises, and during our warm-up exercises, we encourage our clients to sit up straight and speak just slightly louder than they normally do. And now that we're doing these things via Zoom, we encourage them to project their voice up and over their computer screen. And these warm-up exercises consist of simply doing, it's a syllable repetition task where we're going, may, me, my, mo, moo. And we do several repetitions of these, encouraging them to think about each of those syllables and project the voice, like I said, over the screen, okay? We then walk them through Oz. And with Oz, they do trials of holding out, sustaining that ah syllable as long as they're able to, using a nice deep breath, good posture, and projecting the voice. So we always give lots of models and we go, ah. And of course, we encourage them to hold that out as long as they can without fatiguing their voice. We then move on to what we call glides. And this tends to be a little bit more challenging for some of our clients. So we encourage them to go, ah, ah. Again, projecting their voice up and over the computer screen. And after this, we move on to counting. We have different sequences of numbers that they do their counting exercises with. Again, always using intent for every single number that they go through, okay? We do, finally, we end with cognitive exercises. And what this does is it encourages our clients to use intent while engaged in more mentally challenging tasks. I just noticed I skipped over reading. They do reading tasks as well, where they have to use that very intentional, strong, articulate voice. Okay, so that just kind of takes you through what a typical session looks like. Lots of encouragement, lots of modeling from our clinicians, and lots of practice for our clients. Practice using intent, using the pyramidal pathway in order to focus on that strong, clear, articulate voice to help strengthen that voice. Okay, the Speak Up program, it lasts an average of 4 to 6 weeks, and we have individual therapy sessions with our clients 2 to 3 times per week. And like Kate said, right now we're doing all of our sessions online using Zoom. And our plan, of course, is once COVID goes away, and we're hopeful that that will happen soon, we'll be able to offer this both ways. So for those clients that perhaps live further away and can't make the commute, or if we have clients that are a little bit more, let's say, medically fragile, they're able to join us virtually using Zoom. Okay. Now, when our clients are finished with their Speak Out program, or when they're nearing the end of their program, we provide a weekly group session called the Loud Crowd. And again, right now we're providing this via Zoom. And again, our hope is that someday we'll be able to have our in-person group meetings again, because that face-to-face component is so wonderful to have. But the Loud Crowd sessions are very similar to Speak Out sessions, where we begin with those vocal exercises, reading and cognitive exercises, but we do these now all as a group. And we also like to include fun activities, like you see her on the screen. On the week of Halloween, we had some trivia contests that we did with our clients. And we do different conversation tasks, things to make it more fun. It also increases that cognitive component. So while our clients have to think about what their, what the task is, which is a little bit more cognitively challenging, they also have to remember at the same time to use intent when they're answering, when they're responding to our questions. Okay. I also wanted to share, recently a client, during her session, she shared with us that after only a couple of weeks into the program, friends that she meets with every week on Zoom were commenting about how strong her voice sounded. And I love hearing things like that. We also had another client that just recently finished up her individual sessions, and we did a follow-up evaluation at the end of her individual therapy sessions. And the difference between the recordings that we did of her at her initial evaluation session versus what we saw at the end were amazing. The difference and the strength of her voice was really awesome to see. A different patient also shared with us that prior to being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, she was able to swallow up to 6 pills at a time when she took her daily medications. But she noticed that as time went on, as her disease progressed, she was needing to take fewer pills at a time because of the issues that she was having with the strength of her swallowing. But after only 3 weeks of doing her speak out exercises, she's now back to being able to swallow all 6 pills at a time. So I think that's another really excellent testimonial to the strength of this program. We've really seen some nice positive changes in our clients thanks to Speak Out and our Loud Crowd programs. So now I just am going to open it back up for anybody that has any questions for either me or for Kate about our services that we offer at the Center for Communication Sciences and Disorders, or our Speak Out or Loud Crowd Parkinson's programs.
You two want to talk a little bit about how people can get involved as a part of the programs? If it's, I'm assuming it might have to come through a referral, or how does that happen?
Yes, typically I do all the intake for the Speak Out program. And so we have kind of a long questionnaire that we go through. I like to try and go through them with them over the phone, but we realize that some of that is getting a little bit long and we don't want to tax their ability to talk over the phone. So we've kind of split it up a little bit. So we do some of it face-to-face or went through telepractice, but I do a lot of just the general intake, just contact information from the patient. Where have you been before? What types of treatment have you had? I love it when I get a client that's like, yeah, I've never had speech before. And I'm like, what? So it's just such a great program. I just really feel like it is a population that is very underserved in Southern Minnesota right now. And so the best way for them to reach out would just be through our center email address or the center direct phone number. Even though I am currently working from home, it goes right to my email address. So I am able to contact those clients, even if they reach out and nobody picks up initially. I'm pretty good at getting back to them right away. And we'll share that. We have a slide that has that information. Otherwise, I will also include that in the chat here too, if they want to have it right now in front of them. But I'm super excited about this program. I actually was first introduced to the program by the Neuroscience Center in the Twin Cities. I had was collaborating with another speech language pathologist who's out in the field and had mentioned that, we really want some type of Parkinson's program here on campus. And she had mentioned the Speak Out program and just said, that functionally, it's something really easy for clinical therapists to employ in a clinical setting. And clients tend to really like it because it's not too intense. It's just enough for them, that they feel like they can do it and be successful with the program. And I think since we've implemented it, just in this first session, we're seeing a lot of that success of the program. I'm excited about it. I plan to do the training. Dr. Bruce Perburka is also going to do the training. So even though we right now only have 2 clinical therapists providing Speak Out, we hope to have 4 in the future. And so it is a program that we really want to see grow.
And I wanted to mention too, the loud crowd group sessions that we do on a weekly basis, we do these because it's very important for clients to understand that this is a lifetime commitment to using intent when they speak. And we have high expectations that patients will continue to do daily exercises. Once they've learned the 6 components of the therapy sessions, that they'll continue to do these exercises. Because this is one of those situations where if you don't use it, you lose it. And we teach them, we give them the tools, and we want them to attend those weekly sessions so that they're able to maintain that strong, articulate voice as long as possible.
I suppose, as Kate mentioned, it's a progressive disease, so you want to try to stay on top of that as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And more importantly, be able to do all the things that you want to do with your family. Really, I mean, really, that's what it's about. Being able to communicate with your family, communicate with your friends, and do it in such a way that it's not so taxing to you that you're exhausted by the end of the day. It really is just about staying active and functional and doing all that. One of the questions that I ask clients is, what were you doing before that you're not able to do now that you'd like to be able to do? Mm-hmm. And really, that's what we focus on. If it's talking to your granddaughter over the phone and you weren't able to do that before, we want to figure out a way to help you do that. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about the program. Obviously, you can see I'm really excited. I think it's going to be great for our community.
I like to use for an example with our clients too, that I tend to be a very fast talker. And whenever I'm in front of my students in a classroom, I have to be very intentional about slowing myself down. So it's just an example of where I don't have Parkinson's, but I use intent when I'm in front of the classroom. Because if I don't, I just start going and going and going and going, and I speak really fast. And when I first started teaching at MSU, that was comments I got from students was, slow down. So I am very intentional when I do my lectures with students to make sure that I'm slowing down and speaking articulately. And that's what we're teaching our Parkinson's clients, not necessarily the slow down, but to project over the computer screen. And right now, if they're connecting with people via Zoom, they can use those same prompts. Think about throwing your voice across the room, filling up the room with your voice. Yeah. We often get comments from our patients that they feel like they're shouting, and yes. We tell them, you sound wonderful. They're used to speaking with such a nice, quiet voice that they don't realize that when they just speak up using more intensity, it sounds so strong and so wonderful. And
that also is one of the symptoms of Parkinson's too, is that they don't have that internal feedback system to realize that they're talking much softer than they were before. They don't realize it. And so drawing attention to that and overemphasizing that, and then saying, giving them a way to be able to measure their voice, to say, no, actually, this is where you need to be, so that they can start to know what that feels like and what their voice is supposed to feel like or sound like.
Anybody else have any questions for us?
Any questions about the center or any of the other programs that we offer at MSU?
Dog's got a question.
Question, yep. I apologize for that. It never fails. She's quiet all day until I start Zooming, and then we get the barking.
Now, do I understand correctly that you received a grant for part of this? Is that something that's going to be renewable, or how will that? What will
So the initial part of the grant was just to train, all of our graduate students had the opportunity to go through the training. And we had, what did we have so far, Jessica? Have six gone through? 5 have gone through. But they all have the opportunity to receive the training, and then 2 of our clinical instructors. And then the second part of the grant is, as long as we are not charging for the services, we can apply for additional funding for the services to help continue the program. Some of the things that are associated with the program are kind of spendy. You know, for instance, the workbooks that we've had to order are an expense to the program. So really, we just look at that cost, or the part of the grant that would cover that cost, as being beneficial. I mean, honestly, we're really just looking to provide the service to the community because we feel like it's something that's missing in our community. There are services out there for Parkinson's patients. Obviously, you can receive individual therapy services, but not in a group setting. And so we really feel like the Loud Crowd is something that is really going to help transform this program. We've seen it in our aphasia group. You know, our adult aphasia clients have come and stayed for years, and they love the program. And it's just a great way to encourage socialization and interaction with our adult clients.
How common is Parkinson's, and is this sort of thing included in other therapies or treatments that people might be getting, or is this something new and different from that?
Do you want to take that one, Jessica?
Yeah, so the first part of your question, and it's evading my brain right now, but I just had the incidence of Parkinson's. It's gone now, but I did have that. So I'd have to go back to looking that up, because I don't know the exact numbers on that. What was the second part of your question?
If what this program covers is part of a usual treatment for Parkinson's, or is it something above and beyond what people might usually get?
Yeah, it's similar but different. There's it's called the Lee Silverman Voice Technique, LSVT. There's a program called Loud Training. So they're similar but yet different. So they target different things. They have different tasks that they can do. And I'm afraid I can't speak intelligently about the components of those other programs. But I can tell you that just based on what I've seen in the research with this program with Speak Out, the results are staggering. They're phenomenal.
Yeah. And I would say, you know, I think we've used portions of the Speak Out program in outpatient services, but this is very intentional. It's very specific to Parkinson's disease. And so I think that's what makes this program special, is that it's specifically tailored for the Parkinson's patient. And so I don't know. I just really see the program continuing to grow. And like I said, the whole purpose for the program was because we just felt like our Parkinson's population was one that we just were currently underserving, and that we could provide that. I feel like at MSU, we're able to do things that are challenging. And I can say this because I came from a clinical setting, that are challenging to do in a clinical setting, like providing group therapy. We all want to do that. We all wanted to do that in a clinical setting, but it's very, very challenging when you have, you know, productivity standards to reach every day, and you have so many patients that you have to see on an individual basis, and you know that they would benefit from a group setting, but it's really challenging to plan and organize that as an outpatient clinical therapist. And so we work really closely with the other therapists here in town at you know, Mayo Clinic, Mankato Clinic, and just to help, you know, provide that in between. In talking with the Mayo Clinic, they offered the Lee Silverman voice treatment. But the therapists that I talked to were very excited about this program because they felt that it could provide, so they have like a window of time that they go through where they provide therapy, and then they take time off, and then they come back and they reassess the patients later to see if there has been any regression, if they need to pick up therapy again. And so they see us as being very, very beneficial in that period between when they stopped that intensive training to when they would start the training again. When we're hoping that this will help just maintain their voice during that time so that they're not continually to lose and then they have to build back up again. And I think that is the one thing that the loud crowd is something that the patients can just continue to do on and on and on. So that's what we're hoping.
I'll jump on that too. I think that is a primary difference between this program and others is the maintenance. That's the key part of this. It's, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And so these other programs, there's an end date, and then 6 months later, they come back in to see what's happened. Whereas we keep up with these clients, and the clients have exercises that they're able to do on their own. And at the loud crowd, they're doing the same activities that they've been doing all along. And also one of our clients who's been involved in other support groups for Parkinson's mentioned that her other groups, she says, we spend so much time talking about, well, now I'm experiencing this symptom. Is anybody else experiencing this? And she says, it's nice to know that there are other people that are having the same challenges. But she says with loud crowd, it's positive. We're talking about what are we doing that's great? How are we using intent? And I think that's a huge difference, that positivity factor.
Yeah, it just puts the power back to the client to say, this is what I can do to help myself.
Yes.
Yep. So.
Certainly success builds upon success.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, anybody else have any questions? Margaret, you had one already. Carol or Mary?
Oh, I think Margaret had a question, but I think she was still muted.
Yep. Yeah, I can't unmute her, so.
There she goes.
There she goes.
Yeah. No, I don't really have a question. My aunt had Parkinson's disease, and my sister-in-law's sister has Parkinson's disease. And there are a few other people that I've known who've had it. And it's progressive and hard to know what to do with it.
Yeah. I think this is something that can give patients hope, something that they can do to kind of help keep them where they are, so that they can continue to do the things that they enjoy doing.
Right. Anybody else have any questions? I know Bonnie's on the phone here, but Mary, anything?
Let's see.
Yep, you're good.
You're good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just was going to comment when you were talking about the memory books with I believe that was with dementia patients, but whoops. But that was, my mother-in-law had dementia and was in a locked facility.
Hello?
And
Hello?
she, one of the things I found when I went to visit her was if I just grabbed some pictures and went to visit with her, it gave us things to talk about, and she would talk more. Just what was in the picture. It didn't even have to really be people she knew or anything like that, but things that she recognized that she could talk about.
Yeah, it's really cool. It just focuses on their strengths. Their strength is their long-term memory. They might not remember what they had for breakfast, but they can remember things from long ago. And so being able to talk about those things is really powerful.
Yes.
Okay, anything else?
What is the difference between Parkinson's and Parkinsonism?
Oh, Jessica.
Well, we had a neighbor out at the lake that had Parkinsonism, and I'm wondering what is the difference between that? I never knew.
I've never heard
Oh,
the term.
You're muted, Jessica.
Yeah, I've not heard that term either, but I'm wondering if it isn't, I kind of think about there's Alzheimer's disease and then there's Alzheimer's like dementia. And I don't know, but I wonder if that maybe is something similar where, you've got Parkinson's disease, but you've got Parkinsonism where maybe there's some of the characteristics, but it's not full blown. I
Okay.
don't know, but that's a good question. I'll have to look that one up.
Well, he was the only person I've ever known that said that's what they had. I know he had the tremors, but I just was kind of curious because I have never heard anybody else say they had that.
Yeah, I haven't
Oh,
either.
no.
Okay.
Right?
I'm kind of curious, what drew you to today's presentation? Anyone?
I just wanted to know what you were doing. I do have a friend that she's retired now, but she was a speech pathologist. And the last time we were up on campus, she pointed out your building and what a love. Evidently, she's been there because she said it's a beautiful building and this type of thing. And so I was just wondering what you were doing, and partly because of the friend that said he had Parkinsonism, I just wondered about what it was and that. So
Yeah, that is one of the reasons, Mary, that I wanted to talk a little bit today about all the other services that we provide in our facilities, because I had gone on a tour with somebody last summer and they were like, wow, this is amazing. Like we were the best kept secret in Southern Minnesota. And so I think, if our people in our own backyard don't know we're here, who else is going to not know we're here? And the whole point is getting our services out to the community. And so we really do need you all to know that we're there and all the different things that we provide and that we can do.
okay, good.
All right, well, hopefully people will find out about this. Those who weren't here today can join us and view the video later online, again at Virtual Vine for our vinevolunteers.com page. So if there is nothing else, I just want to thank Kate and Jessica for coming and telling us a little bit about this. Of course, you'll pass it along to Amy Jo. She's the one who reached out to us about
Yeah, absolutely.
but thank you very much. Yet, I think there are so many things on the MSU campus that are hidden gems that unless you have that connection to it, you don't know that it's there.
Yeah.
And any way we can help get that information out, please let us know.
Great. Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
And thank you everybody for coming today.
Yeah, nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you all.
Good to see you, Michael.
Thanks, Bonnie. Good to see you. Say hi to that Tim guy.
I will.
All right. Bye all.
Bye. Thank you.